Hi, my name is Kristen Becker and I'm a master's student at Dalhousie University. My current thesis examines legal changes in Cromwellian Scotland during the 1650s to further understand how law was used as a tool of conquest and a tool of the state. I am beyond grateful to be the winner of the Mushkat Memorial Essay Prize for the year 2020 to 2021 and cannot extend my gratitude enough to the FASS Essay Prize Committee. Furthermore, I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the sponsors of this award for their incredible generosity and commitment to the students at Dalhousie, as well as their continued promotion of toleration in its many forms. This paper, entitled Freedom of Religion or an Attempt to Create a United Godly State, Religious Toleration in Cromwellian Scotland, was written as a course paper for a graduate course on the Reformation in early modern Europe. The topic of the paper, however, was chosen because of its similarity to my original thesis research and its uniqueness because of Oliver Cromwell's personal religious beliefs. Previous research on religious policies in Scotland during this time have led to a debate which focuses mainly on the invasion of Scotland. Ultimately, some historians suggest that religious toleration was used as a means to create a united godly state within the British Isles, while others argue that the conquest and later union were attempts to promote and provide all of God's chosen elect the ability to practice their faith without persecution. This paper attempts to add to this debate by examining English religious policies in Scotland throughout the 1650s, as well as the conquest of Scotland by English forces, to argue that these religious policies were mainly an attempt to create a united godly state within the British Isles by promoting religious toleration. It should be noted that there are three types of toleration often discussed, and these need to be clarified. First and foremost, there is religious toleration during the early modern period, which means a toleration of a belief or practice which one deemed to be incorrect, and therefore this the person or the belief did not hold any rights if it was not the mainstream religious belief. The modern definition of religious toleration that we are known to today is more akin to freedom of religion, which gives anyone the ability to practice any form of religious belief as part of their civil liberties. The use of toleration in this paper, however, is commonly considered liberty of conscience during the early modern period, and this allowed someone to choose the religious belief under the assumption that religion was a connection of someone's conscience with God and therefore a matter of the self. In an attempt to prove this thesis, the paper examines religious policies in England during the interregnum, arguments surrounding the English invasion of Scotland, and English religious policies in Scotland. An examination of English support for the invasion centered upon Scottish breach of the Solemn League and Covenant signed in 1643, continuous Scottish meddling in English affairs, which was thought to have angered God, and the preservation of God's glory and providence. Ultimately, the English believed that their success in Scotland meant that God was on their side. However, the Scots argued that the English broke the Solemn League and Covenant, and the allowance of toleration would anger God, and therefore he should have been on their side. English religious policies began in England would be transferred and promoted in Scotland, specifically liberty of conscience and anti-formalism. Cromwell and his followers did not believe in a formal church structure, which they insisted restricted religious belief. Thus, to promote liberty of conscience, they attempted to delegitimize the Scottish church structure through means of censorship of the press and promoting public debates of religious doctrine. Through the use of the press, independents were able to show how formal church structure can limit God's chosen elect, the ability to find providence, how it did not make sense with predestination, and how believers should trust in God to show them the correct path. Furthermore, they also limited Scottish church powers by removing attendance at Presbyterian churches, not allowing punishment by church officials for minor issues, and not allowing exile of Catholics or other religious beliefs by Scottish church officials. If done by an English military officer, that was different. Thus, through means of anti-formalism, liberty of conscience, and attacking the Scottish Church, Cromwell was advancing English religious policies and religious reformation in Scotland, which could then allow him to continue his personal crusade by controlling the reforms. The union between England and Scotland in 1654, then, was the final attempt to promote a godly state amongst the British Isles, which were at the time all under English control. So, to conclude, ultimately, this paper found that although religious policies were changed in Scotland that more aligned with English policies already present and ongoing in England at the time of the invasion, Cromwell, having led the new model army and would later become Lord Protector and often considered His Highness in England, and his promotion and his constant attempt to delegitimize the Scottish Kirk, as well as attempting this ability of liberty of conscience, while a lot of his own personal beliefs did not reflect the kind of religious toleration he was trying to promote, leads us to suggest that the religious policies itself were a means to an end, to create this kind of united godly state in which God would like to dwell. Thank you.